Hello and welcome to Control Alt Record. My name is Chris, and along with myself in your ears for the next 60 minutes is Brett and Grax. In tonight's episode, we'll continue our journey with Project Gorgon. We're also going to bring back some of our regular segments in our normal shows to cover off gaming news, early access updates. Brett has some random and interesting facts, and we'll also wrap up the show with a quiz. If you do like tonight's episode, then jump onto iTunes and give us a rating and a review, or your respective podcast apps for Google and Android. Check out our other channels, Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Control Alt Record. Twitter, our handle is at CTRLALTRecord. Our email address is CTRLALTrecord@gmail.com. You'll also find all the details to those in the description of this episode. But that's it. Let's get into the show.
You're listening to Control Alt Record.
All right, so first up, look, we're going to get into some gaming news first of all. We are going to continue with our Gorgon content. It is the only game that the four of us have been playing. Unfortunately, Michael is not joining us tonight. He's decided that he needed a break and needed a night off, something like that.
He's probably playing Gorgon.
He could be.
He's like, I can't, no podcast tonight. I'm busy, guys.
Yeah. So, we're going to continue with Gorgon. We actually had a really good response to last episode from the Gorgon community. Thank you very much to the people out on the subreddit for Project Gorgon. Really loved the responses. We did throw out a question because last episode around with Gorgon was around what it is and a bit of a general overview. So this episode, what we want to kind of get into is for new players. So if you listen to the show last episode and realized, maybe I do want to give it a go. Well, we want to try and provide you with a bit of help and a bit of guidance with your starting experience of Project Gorgon. Now, there is so much in the game, so what we say is not definitive. It is not final, so please take it, please do a bit of research as well, but we'll try our best to help you out where you can, where you might need it. It's not a game that requires...
Don't trust us. We're regularly wrong.
We often get things wrong.
We're regularly wrong.
We do. It is a game that isn't really designed for hand-holding, so we also don't want to hand-hold you through it. I think part of the fun of Gorgon is exploring and discovering things for yourself. So we don't want to spoil too much of the fun for you. As for spoilers, I don't think there's really going to be any spoilers. There's no, to be honest, I don't even know what the story is.
There kind of is spoilers in a way. Because the game is designed that you are taken through the journey, from the lore in the game and talking to NPCs and stuff. But if you do want a little bit of a helping hand, that's sort of what we're aiming for without totally wrecking it. But
basically anything you could potentially find on the wiki will, tell you about.
So most things.
Or stuff we've looked at. Well, we don't want to...
So we're not going to spoil much, but just almost everything.
All right, so before we get into Gorgon, we'll go into a bit of gaming news. So GTA 5 has sold over 95 million copies now. We're on its way to 100 million, which is a ridiculous number. So I think it's absolutely crazy to think that Rockstar are still rocking it at nearly 100 million so far. I hope they do meet it. I'd like to see them do it.
That'd be really cool. Like, they've already broken a record with that amount, haven't they? So...
so I think they were saying they've made more money than any film, book, or game because they've generated approximately $6 billion in revenue. And
most of that's from the microtransactions, though, in GTA.
Oh, they have to, the shark cards and stuff.
Not the actual sales of the game. That's why they keep bringing out new content. It's like a massive cash cow for them.
Well, that's but if they're going to provide content, people are going to pay for it because it's, they're obviously.
The only thing is, though, if you look at the development sort of, or how many games that Rockstar have brought out, once GTA Online came out and they realized they could make money out of that, they've basically made nothing else except for Red Dead Redemption 2, which is coming out at the end of the year, obviously. But before then, they were, every couple of years they were bringing out a new game.
Yeah.
GTA 5 came out in 2013.
Max Payne and all that.
It kind of sucks a bit. Like, I don't like it because I want them to make new games, not just keep bringing out all this cheesy stuff in GTA Online.
I'm definitely devastated that Red Dead 2 is not coming to PC. That's killed my life.
It probably will at some point.
Hopefully someone will port it or do something, but You can live in hope.
It was where so GTA 5. It took them I think 2 years to actually port it, but it was more than a port. They like increased the graphics and made it
absolutely.
better. You know,
Like
it wasn't. They really put the work in.
Yeah, we used to have a running joke that the console community beta test the PC version for us. You know, each to their own.
Yeah, I was doing that on my Xbox 360.
I had it on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and I bought it on PC.
In other news, we've also got Tom Clancy's The Division 2 will be hopefully showcased this year at E3. Looking forward to that one, and I believe with a approximate or hopeful release date before April next year. I'm excited for this one. Cool. I personally really enjoyed the first Division. I know...
Yeah, same.
I know in the beginning, a lot of people really weren't happy with it due to a lot of server issues and glitches and bugs and shit like that. Personally, I don't recall experiencing anything too bad with that. But they have continued to grow it. There's been quite a few expansions. A lot of people online are saying that since the most recent expansion and I think the last expansion, don't recall what it was. Was it Last Stand or something like that? I could be wrong. They said it was said to be like this is in a really good state now. It's very stable. The servers don't crash. There isn't as many bugs or issues. But also
after 2 years.
After 2 years, they finally got there. Yeah. But they are saying that it's in a really good state right now. So if you never picked up the first Division, give it a crack. I'd recommend it. I'd put in myself
it's a good game.
Personally. It's a ton of fun. I loved it.
Absolutely.
So also beautiful looking game. I think it was an absolutely stunning.
I don't get all the bugs. I don't think I've had any problems with it.
I think some of the
ran well.
It depends on where you were, like what region you were in. I think there were some region issues.
I think they also had a lot of issues with hackers. So in, I think, around the second or third expansion, they hit a bit of a wall with people easily exploiting the game where they were able to, particularly in the Dark Zone area. For those that maybe don't know what that is, that's sort of like the dedicated PvP area. So what people would be doing is they'd be sort of clipping into walls and through walls, and if you were on the other side of a wall in like a dead area type thing and there was nothing going on, you could see other players but they couldn't see you because you were behind the wall, but you could still shoot them, and things like that were happening. So but hopefully they learn and they fix that in Division 2 and it'll get off to a great start. I really want to see what they're going to bring and what they're going to change. I really hope they don't just rehash it.
I was going to say, is there any word yet on the actual story as to what's going on? What's the premise or?
None of that's been released at this point, so there hasn't really been any details about the game that's been revealed yet.
I suppose E3.
Yeah, E3 is going to be it. And that's is that June or July? I always forget. Is it June?
It's
mid-June. I think it's mid-June.
TM.
Yeah.
It better not be like Destiny 2 where it's just like the same game again, like as you say. That'd be so annoying.
That will be a little disappointing. I can't imagine them really...
I can't imagine them doing that.
I think the core mechanic and the core gameplay will remain the same in terms of the third person, bullet sponge
cover
enemies,
shooter.
Cover shooters. I think that's going to very much remain the same. So I think
that's the kind of like the series that's its mechanics now. Like people are used to that.
That side of it's cool. But if it's like, New York and everyone's evacuated and it's winter and
there's a virus.
Fuck off. Yeah.
The virus is mutated. Now there's zombies. Like, thank you.
Now it's a battle royale. It's just like every other fucking game that's coming out.
Speaking of battle royale, do we want to move on to COD 4?
Speaking of battle royale, we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is on its way.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I tell you, these are my favourite games, these ones.
Are you feeling okay?
That was sarcasm.
Hang on, let me just smash my glass of water on my table and stab my face with the shards. That will give me more enjoyment than Call of Duty.
Look, Call of Duty, man.
I think
seriously,
I mean, more so.
I used to love it
4, is it?
so much. Like Modern Warfare, the first one, 2, even the old Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, really good games for their time. The first Black Ops,
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it's getting every year it's the same shit.
But people keep buying it though, so there must be some
I
people
know.
out there that like it. I never speak to. I don't know who these people are that actually like Call of Duty, because whenever you mention it, people are just like, "Oh, fuck that game." But it's like obviously there are people that like it.
Yeah. So who are these? But back in the day, back when Modern Warfare first came out, like there's a whole Call of Duty charity type thing that gives money from the development of the game to ex-veterans and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if it's still going now, but back Modern Warfare 1 and all that kind of things, they used to go and see soldiers, like active duty people and all that kind of stuff. And there was this really good community around that. And it seemed to be a lot more adults or more mature people playing the game where, every game you got into didn't have intimate carnal knowledge of your mother. But over time, it's just got into this circle of it's the same shit every year. And it just seems to be now it's kids. And one of those things, which I think Chris is probably going to talk about in a second, like the first couple of Call of Duties had a really great single player story and engaging experience, and it's just getting weaker.
I believe with the new one, they're completely getting rid of the single player campaign.
Correct, yeah.
They are no single player campaign in Call of Duty anymore. And that was one of the biggest things that I loved about Modern Warfare was I really got sucked into it. The story that they were able to create.
Story in the beginning was so cool.
They are replacing the single player with the battle royale, and I think this is.
Wonder why that is.
Can PUBG sue them like they tried to sue Fortnite?
I think there's
no, I don't think they invented battle royale. I'm pretty sure there's games before then.
Didn't the WWE invent battle royale? Really?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's the original.
Maybe they're missing out on some cash here.
Yeah, I think Hulk Hogan's missing out here. Needs to maybe start suing some fucking. I don't know. What's his move? I don't know. All right, move on.
Moving on.
Yeah, I think Bret the Hitman Hart should be suing everyone because he was one of the original guys.
Was he? All right.
Is that who you were named after? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, that's correct.
Here's the thing, though, about this Battle Royale, and particularly now Call of Duty, is if people are going to be like, brilliant, Call of Duty, Battle Royale, I'm getting it just for those two things, you're still going to pay like $100, I say $100, I'm generalizing to full retail price.
$60 US.
$60 US.
So it's about $99.
But the thing is, if you're wanting to play it really for the Battle Royale, it's like you can get Fortnite for free. But
it's like a kid's game. Though.
I know, but so it's Call of Duty now.
At least Call of Duty does their graphics well. Like, it looks fairly realistic for what they put on the screen. Most of the time. It's more realistic than Fortnite, Cartoon Land.
At least Fortnite know that they're not.
I suppose PUBG is full of hackers, and Fortnite is looks like it's for kids, and it's got weird building and stuff. So maybe they could come up with something good.
We'll see.
Perhaps, every time. Well, I've given up on the last 3 Call of Duties, but before that, when they used to have dedicated servers and stuff,
We're saying they're getting rid of the story. Like that's such a massive loss. It's like the last 6 games have had just absolute garbage storyline.
I remember 4 hours long or something.
Fair point.
So shit. So it's not like
that was Battlefront.
Yeah, it's just they're throwing away garbage anyway. So whatever.
Anyway,
I say it's a good thing. Might be better.
Got their co-op thing still going on.
Anyway. Well, anyway, it's Call of shit. That's all it is. Skull and Bones, Ubisoft's competition to Sea of Shit has been delayed to into 2019, 2020.
Shouldn't compare shit to Sea of Thieves. Shit's much higher quality.
I was waiting for that.
I was like, okay, which way is he going to go with this? So look,
did Ubisoft say what the delay was on that?
They never say what the delay was. I'm sure it'll be.
Sometimes they do. Because I was really looking forward to that before you guys brainwashed me into giving Sea of Thieves.
I don't know why you keep saying that I had anything to do with that. It was Chris. It was Chris that told you to buy it. I said get it on the free Game Pass thing. The moral of the story is don't listen to Chris.
Yeah, but okay. Well, but don't buy Project Gorgon? Is that reverse psychology? Is that what you're trying to use? Because okay. Anyway, so Skull and Bones. So look, they're saying they've decided they want to give themselves some more time to develop the game now and offer players a more engaging experience. Maybe this is because they've realized that they had nothing in the game and realized the
maybe they've come in. Yeah, they've gone. Oh, look what happened to Sea of Thieves.
Hang on, we have to put actual content and quests and interesting things in the game rather than just have a graphics engine.
That's
bananas.
We're in trouble, guys. We're in trouble.
They don't want to do what Rare did and offered you nothing. Although, look, Sea of Thieves has more content on the way. I get that, but
might make a comeback.
We'll see.
Look, might be
we had fun for that whole 5 hours we played.
That 5 hours, that was it. I had a really good 5 hours. It was really
absolutely
fun.
Like the issue we had with it was fun for 5 hours, but that 5 hours was not worth the $100 that two of us paid for it.
We've gone over it. There's a whole episode dedicated to. I think you
so
guys
we don't
the
need
game
to rehash that.
I don't have the bad taste in my mouth because I didn't pay for it. So
yeah.
Speaking, Brett, you did say No Man's Sky. Last news article and item for the night or for this episode, No Man's Sky Next. It is the next update, which is coming July 24th. This is the first time Sean Murray, head of Hello Games, he did a bit of an interview with Inside Xbox, and this is the first time he's done an interview in the last 2 years, mostly because of the backlash that he got. And Hello Games
hiding.
He basically went into hiding and went, you know what? Because the biggest problem with No Man's Sky, I think for so long leading up to the release of it, there was a lot of, you can do this, you could do this. And then he started to backpedal a little bit going, oh, well, maybe not. And then, of course, his head was nearly chopped off.
But to his credit, he stuck at it though, and he brought some of it along. So, he didn't, he may have fell down into the fetal position.
I feel like his problem was when the interviewers would ask him questions, he would just say yes no matter what. They'd be like, "Oh, can you fly around with your friends?" He's like, yeah. Can you? Well, whatever. Can you build your own spaceships and stuff? He's like, yep, that'll be in there. Just that'll be fine. I'm sure we'll work it out. How to do it.
He's not really then a PR guy, and I don't
think so.
No, but. To Sean Murray and Hello Games credit,
hello friends.
Hello friends.
Hello,
how are you? Hello. Over the last 2 years, they've continued to release free content with no microtransactions. I think that is big credit to them that they've continued, and now that they are finally offering multiplayer content, they are. I mean, okay, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I want to be optimistic because this is what I wanted in No Man's Sky 2 years ago, but they are saying it's a full multiplayer experience with your friends in Next, whether they're a small group, a large group, you will be able to see them. They have because with the release of on July 24th, this is going to PC, PS4, and Xbox One all on the same date. But the cover art has changed from, if you've seen the cover art for the No Man's Sky box, has a diamond thing in the sky with a single person, but obviously representing the solo experience of No Man's Sky. But with the newer box art, there will be 4 characters on the screen, hopefully representing, you'll be able to see your friends and things like that. So we'll see what happens.
You can now. It's just like you see them as a
they're
little blue floating
things.
orbs.
It's not the greatest thing.
They are saying that you'll be able to build shelters and complexes and colonies with your friends. You'll go and explore space together. You can fight pirates in like a wingman type scenario with epic space battles and all that stuff. So sounds cool, but you know what? You burn us once.
We're cautious.
Well, it doesn't matter now because we've already got it.
I mean, we've paid for it, and it'll be a free update. So, okay, of course I'm going to play it. But
absolutely,
I want it to be because that was what I wanted 2 years ago.
It's nearly the game they promised. I think that's right.
Anyway, that's enough for news. That is your weekly roundup. Use weekly and what's happened last week very loosely because maybe some of this news was like 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't do that much fact checking. Project Gorgon, why you are here. So as I did mention at the start, we had a massive response from the Project Gorgon community, which we really appreciate. Thank you so much. And for the people that did give us some feedback saying that, you really enjoyed our episode, thank you so much. Love it. And we want to bring you guys... before we go into Project Gorgon, we do have... let's quickly go through it. Early access, because Project Gorgon is an early access game.
All over the shop.
I know.
Yeah, okay, buddy? Are you all right?
I know. We'll do it. We'll do it after. One of the other segments we wanted to introduce as well is early access, where we give our listeners updates on early access games, where they're at, new updates, blah blah blah. I think Grax was going to cover off Conan Exiles, Forest, and Star Citizen 3.1.4, but we'll do that after Gorgon because people are here for Gorgon. Let's talk about Gorgon. I've done enough talking. Someone else take it away. Someone else go. No? Okay. All right.
I was going to say, first off, one thing we didn't talk about last week was we didn't tell everyone what our character names were. So for anyone that actually listened and potentially saw us running around, in the days after the podcast, because we did, as you said in the beginning, we got an awesome level of response on Reddit. A lot of, thumbs up. Why don't you try to talk about this? And you got a lot of response to the post you put up about what would you like us to talk about? So we really appreciate that, guys. It's great. Please keep it coming. And yeah, if you see us in game, go send us a whisper. See if you want to.
Don't talk to me because I'm busy. Probably. I'm joking.
We're pretty friendly, especially when we're doing noob stuff like planting potatoes.
Especially Michael. Feel free to spam him as much as possible.
What's Michael's character's name? I can't remember.
I don't even know.
Is it Red something?
Reddest.
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 Not like Reddest.
I think it might only be 1D. I don't know. It's something like that.
I can't even
add him as a friend and then just start spamming him constantly.
Just
say you let us down.
Just say why weren't you in the podcast? Come on,
spam him with
letting him run down.
ASL. Spam him with that. Just hammering him.
Oh, that'll turn him on though. That'd be weird.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird. My name. So just, look, if you're on the line, on game, add me as a friend. We'll catch up and cook fish together. My name's Herdy. I can't remember if I spelled it H3RDY or HERDY. Damn it! Yeah. Now you've stumped me because I sometimes use both and I can't remember which one it is. Look, it's either HERDY or H the number 3RDY. Try both. I mean, maybe there's someone else out there. Anyway,
my one's interesting. My one's Graxette. I'm playing a female character purely because, and it's not because I like playing female characters. Someone took Grax. Some dude we'd never heard of before. We ran into him in was it Eltabule where we saw him at the crafting bench?
Yeah.
And we were all like jumping around him going, "Hey Grax, it's your sister Graxette, hello." Random. I thought my name was unique. Shout out to Grax if you're one of the ones that listen, man.
And how do you spell Graxette?
Cool name. GRAXETTE.
Yep. And Brett, who are you playing?
I am Killbot. KILLBOT.
Don't like bots in games?
I don't know. Well, I can't even remember where that. I think it's a Futurama reference. It's just the name that I've always used.
Cool. There you go.
I like doing stuff in dungeons. I'm not interested in planting trees and all that
long
shit
walks
like
on
those
the
guys
beach
are.
and long walks through the spider cave.
I like killing stuff. So if you want to come kill stuff with me, please feel free to add me.
Cool. Yeah. There you go. Cool. So, look, this episode is about now that we've sucked in new listeners and other listeners from other shows or other episodes, and they've gone out and bought Project Gorgon, and you're probably wondering, what the fuck do you do? We're still trying to figure that out as well. So, whatever. We'll try to offer you a bit of guidance on where to begin. Grax, you before the show, you were talking quite a bit about the starter island. So you create your character, you start, and away you go. One of your biggest pieces of advice is don't rush it. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that seemed to be common from what I was reading in the in-game chat is a lot of people seem to have missed things that are on the starter island. Like there's a dungeon there. There's a lot of quests there. I think there's only like 4 or 5 NPCs like outside, but there's a lot of quest chains there. There's a couple of puzzles. And spoiler alert, block your ears. If you want a bow to be an archer, the first bow is on the island.
I think that's really a spoiler. That's just saying, I left.
I'm not going to tell you where it is, but there's a lot of people. I noticed the other day, I was running through Serbial, and someone said, "Oh, hey, where'd you get your bow? Where do I learn archery?" Blah blah blah. Well, you pick the bow up. I'm pretty sure you know archery in the beginning, but you don't have a bow. Keep a look around the island for that. There's various quest chains that will eventually tell you how to get off the island, but there is more than one way off. A lot of people think there's only one way, and there's a couple of ways to get back as well if you want to go back, if you feel like you've missed something. Yeah, so
on the topic there of the bow can be found on the starting island. On a particular skill psychology, this is also learnt. If you want to go down the psychology path, this is learnt on the first island as well. There are trainers that are in other locations once you get out of the starting zone, but these people I think are really more designed to teach you more advanced skills once you get to a certain level. But the actual base psychology skill is learnt
as part of a quest chain, isn't it?
As part of a quest chain, that's right. So you will find when you first start, and you're on the island, there'll be a bit of a, you'll see usually straight in front of you, there should be sort of like a walkway that leads up to a little broken house. In there, you're going to find a character. His name is Rigger. He will teach it to you. You do have to do a bit of a quest chain. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but as maybe a little bit of a hint, there is a particular type of potion
he wants or needs.
That he needs. I'm not going to say what it's called because this one stumped me for a little bit. And I think to really sort of figure it out, you've got to analyze his
things around the room. And
analyze his condition. What's his mental state? And there's a particular potion that'll help.
Carl, spoilers.
That's not a spoiler. Stop with the spoilers.
I will say though, before you even get up the hill to him, look at the ground. When you spawn into the game and you start, look down at the ground. There's a starter pack there, a backpack for you full of gear. And the amount of people I see that start and just start running and leave it behind.
I don't think I picked that up.
Yeah, I found it. Yeah.
It's got some low equipment in it. You find gear pretty quickly anyway.
I think on the topic of that particular starter pack, there's only one starter pack, but from what I can remember, if you open it once, you get a sword. If you open it again, and this might be where maybe some people might fall down, is because when you actually click on it again, you then get another item, and then you click on it again and you get a third item. As opposed to being 3 separate bags, I can't remember the exact number, but let's just go with 3. Instead of having 3 individual starter packs, there's only one. You just have to click it 3 times. It eventually disappears, so you know you've got everything. But just because you clicked on it and you've got something, do it again. I remember that being a thing that I clicked on it multiple times to get multiple items out of it. So just in case you click it once and think, oh, that's it, move on. Yeah, give it another crack.
And as I'm not sure if that is actually 3 things stacked or is it one bag or what? I'm not sure. But one of the other things as a starter thing as well, you will notice a lot as you're brand new to the game and not really familiar with what's going on. You will find a lot of crap on the ground, a lot of gear, due to the way inventory management works in the game and players pick up new stuff and need to make room for the better items. They will drop some of their lesser quality items. And for newbies, a lot of that is really handy. I pick up, when I was even now, I still pick up stuff off the ground, see what it is, and go, oh yeah, no, don't let it drop it again. But there's so many good things. If you've got the inventory space, pick them up and then try and sell them. Get yourself some starter coin. The more wealthy players will drop loot when they have nowhere to sell it and want to put, need that space in their inventory. So definitely have a look. If you see items on the ground, pick them up. You could pick up something really good.
I mean, definitely don't treat the first island like any other MMO. So let's say stereotypical WoW, where it's just kill everything, get your level up, and get out. There is a bit to explore. There's there are some puzzles. There's some obelisks that are around the island that'll be oh, what's this? Give them a bit of a look, inspect them, do all that type of thing, because you will find there are quests that will refer to them and other things. So just make sure you give it a good exploration, because I think I spent a good few hours. I think when Brett and we started, you eventually got off a lot quicker than me of the island, and I continued to remain behind because you run around the island and then all of a sudden you find a hidden door or sort of a door tucked away in the side of a side of a mountain, and it's your first little dungeon and things like that. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye out for those. Brett, do you have any sort of initial sort of thoughts or things that you kind of go, oh, if I hadn't, stuffed up, in the starter island, I wish if I had known this, that would have made, my life a little bit easier?
Probably just don't, pretty much what you've said, just don't be so quick to get off it. Like when you think, oh, okay, all I want to do is get off this island, the game is going to get a lot harder and more confusing once you actually get off the island. So really just do everything you can on there and make sure you've spoken to everyone and seen everything and done all the quests, because it's just it's actually quite easy on the starter island, all that stuff, and it does become a little bit more baffling once you first get off there. So
I mean, with the I'm trying to think if there's anything else really with this. I mean, really the starter island, it is pretty straightforward. Take your time with it. Don't rush. It is an area level of about 1 to 10, so you can level up your skills. So I guess that's one thing we did also talk about in the last episode. There's no real skills. No classes.
Character class, yeah.
Yeah, there's no classes, so you could you'll level up your individual skills. There's tons of them, from combat and B skills and trade skills. But if you level up, say, sword, for example, from level to level 10, you're not a level 10 character. That's just your sword skill. If you go and pick up a hammer, once again, you have to learn the hammer skill somewhere. You can't just pick up a hammer and start using it. You'll be back to level 1. So when you see area levels and dungeon levels, it's representative to your skill, not of your particular items.
So if you have equipped.
Yeah, if you're in, say, a particular dungeon that's level 30 and you have sword and shield that are, say, level 35, if you all of a sudden go, oh, here's a staff, although my shield's 35, but I've never used a staff before, your staff's going to be level 1 and you're in a level 30 plus zone, or dungeon. Keep that in mind. That's how that's going to work. So don't think that, you because you've entered a high level dungeon, and you're doing really well, that you can just swap out your weapons that you've never leveled before, and all of a sudden you're going to rock the place. Nah.
Yeah. Also, actually, one thing that took me longer than it probably should have to work out is a couple of things. Like the loot that drops it drops based on your what abilities you have equipped. So you have your 2 primary attacks. Mm-hmm. So if you have fire magic and unarmed, then the items that are going to drop are going to be fire magic and unarmed. But if you then change that to fire magic and staff, they're more likely going to be fire magic and staff items.
Yep.
And that also works if you're grouped up. I've had a few times where I've grouped with this other guy I play with called Mark, and he'll be kind of doing his own thing, and I'm grouped with him, and I'll start getting archery-based items, and I was like, why the fuck am I getting archery items? I don't do archery. And what I realized was it's just because I'm grouped with him that it's causing archery items to drop. So if you're grouped, make sure you're actually working together and doing stuff, not just if you're doing your own thing, you may as well disband your group because it's going to fuck your loot up.
Yeah, talk with the people you're working with to share your loot if you think you've got something that should be for them.
Yeah, but it's just sometimes you'll just stay grouped because for whatever, just so you can chat to each other. It's not a good idea unless you're literally right there with each other.
In which case, you're probably better off, like you say, ungroup. And if you're with a friend, someone that jump onto a Discord channel. Maybe you've got Discord. That's probably the better way to communicate rather than being grouped in party, like Brett, you said there. On the topic of gear and dungeons, let's just quickly wrap up before I go further into the dungeons and gear. The Anagoge Island, the starting point. I didn't actually realize there is a main driver of how to get off the island, which is through teleportation. Yes. There is another way. I'm not gonna say what it is.
That's the way I left the island, and I was like, "Oh, what? There's another way."
That's right. So there's actually the main sort of driving quest that you're going to get off the island, because that's what you want to do, is to create a teleportation device or something like that you can eventually teleport off or learn the skill again. And I thought, cool, I did that. I think Brett did the same. And then we went off to Sebule. Once again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. So if there's a developer listening, come on the show. Please. Let us know. Are we pronouncing these things wrong? Because there's some unique names. Come on.
See, I pronounce it Sebule.
Give us Sebule?
Yeah, that's how I would have called it.
Well, look, I think the only way we're going to confirm this is if a developer has happened to be listening. Send us an email at ctrlaltrecord@gmail.com.
No, they have to come on and give an interview. It's the only way
come on the episode.
That evidence.
Join us for
no emails.
No emails will be accepted. We don't know what checks the emails anyway.
Interview.
I sometimes do. It's mostly spam. But no, look, if you want, come on, correct us on how we should pronunciate your names in these islands. Anyway,
us.
I dare you. Challenge
We've been naughty.
So there is actually a second way to get off. I'm not going to say what it is, but if you want to go, once again, explore, that is what Gorgon is about.
Just as a little teaser, I won't say anything about how to do it either, but when you leave the island via teleportation, you end up in Sebule. If you leave the island via the other way, you don't.
Well, the other location is not really
it's not that far away, but
it's not.
You don't go to the same place.
Close to it in terms of name and location.
Yeah,
but you don't really. If you've never been anywhere on the map before, you don't actually know that.
No, you don't. No,
you know what I mean. You don't know where to go.
There you go. So you probably find that from now, a majority of people are going to maybe go through the teleportation because it is the quest that you follow, and unless you happen to do some exploring and discover the other way, teleportation is going to be probably what a lot of people use to get off the island. In which case, you're going to end up in a zoned Sebule. And this is really your starting area. It's going to cover your skill levels of about 1 to 30. They do have some neighboring regions. Which is if you travel north, you're going to find a pathway to Eltubul. If you travel south, you're going to find Sebule Hills. In the north, there is a boatman that's going to take you to Sunvale. And also Anagoge Island is the fourth neighboring, but of course that's where you sort of teleport from. So with this area, it is a 1 to 30 zone, and there are quite a few dungeons. There's actually 7 dungeons that are classified or registered to this zone. You've got a place called Borghild. You've got the Brainbug Cave. You've got Carpal Tunnels. You've got the Crystal Cavern. You've got the Myconian Cave. You've got Serbial Crypt, and you've got the Serbial Sewers. These also have their own dedicated level zones and level range. So maybe do a bit of research. We'll probably rattle them off to get you started.
I think you're going into too much detail. I think you don't, you know what I mean? Like, people can look up that stuff, can't they, for themselves?
Well, that's kind of what... Well, see, I bring it up because when I first went to Sebule, I went to the Sebule Crypt as the first thing.
That's right.
Well, not really, because if I had known there was actually a lower range zone or dungeon, I would have gone there first, because the Serbial Crypt is level 15 to 30.
Okay, so where would you go first? Where would you go as your first dungeon?
All right, so where you want to maybe start,
surely,
it'd be the Serbial Sewers. All right, now you got to be...
well, that's basically the same thing, because that just leads into the crypt anyway.
No, so the Sewers does have the entrance that goes into the crypt, but...
Spoilers.
Well, you already said it. So
I know, I was just, yeah.
Although the sewers...
Man.
I don't know how that helps anyone by saying spoilers after I've already said it.
Yeah, it doesn't. Look,
that's what I do. Just
rewind it and pretend to be surprised again.
Yeah.
So the sewers are an area level range of 5 to 10. So if you've got the Anagoge Island and you're leveling between 1 to 10, the Serbial sewers, although very small, only a couple of directions, in a couple of tunnels, very small, very simple, very basic, but it's going to give you a bit of a taste.
Definitely going to help you get your skills going.
Yeah,
going through there and fighting the stuff in there. And if you go straight ahead rather than turning left, it is a little bit harder when you're lower level as well. So there's a good challenge there for low level people. And I have to say, like, I'm totally going to throw it out there. The entrance to it is in the middle of a fucking lake. Like, I spent hours running around Serbial Castle or Crypt or whatever it's called, the main city, looking for a sewer grate or a hole in the ground or something in the moat around the castle walls, looking for the sewer.
Don't use logic at all.
It's not. It's
a portal in the middle of the lake.
It's a portal in the middle of the lake to
the
northeast. Yeah,
north.
There's like a pond.
So many spoilers.
Yeah, no, this one's important, man. They're low level. They need to know. The rest we cannot spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I ended up finding it.
Like, I'd been through the crypts and several other dungeons before I got to the sewer because I couldn't find it.
And that's the thing. It's all about guiding people to the right direction. Otherwise, they could be put off when they realize they can't attack or kill anything. And I think, look, Sebule Sewers is where you want to start. It's 5 to 10. The location to the entrance is a portal at the bottom of a lake to the northeast of the main Sebule keep. Which is in the middle.
Yeah, you'll probably end up getting some quests for that area as well, just by talking to the NPCs in Sebule.
Definitely.
Because you'll kind of... That's the thing, like when you first start out, if you just go and talk to all the NPCs, you're going to get just a boatload of quests to do, and some of them will direct you in that area. So, and you'll, as Grax said, it's difficult to find. But once you find it, it's actually probably, the crypt especially is probably one of the busiest areas in the game.
It's regularly traversed by many adventurers.
Yep.
So before we actually read from the Reddit thread that people graciously responded to, I was going to say, did you want to mention? We briefly touched on inventory management. That's a big deal in this game, and one of the first things you want to do. And, you can say it's spoilers or whatever. When you first get to Sebule, there's a female NPC that you want to raise your reputation with to...
How's that a spoiler?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to be I'm not giving a name or anything.
Ruin the game.
Trying to not spoiler it. But you definitely want to find this person and raise your reputation with her because... inventory management can be punishing. It can be, so you want to try and get as much storage space as you can. And there's various NPCs that will store things for you.
So who is this main NPC, or who is this NPC you're referring to? It's not a spoiler to say this person is going to give you more inventory. You've got inventory management. It's a problem. Now there's this person. I'm not going to tell you who will give you more.
I'm actually not going to tell you because I can't remember. I think it's Myrna. Muna. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. But she's useful because she will store anything, and as your reputation increases with her, so does the storage space. There's other NPCs in the town that will store items for you, but only of a particular type. So some people will store weapons and armor, some people will just store crafting items, blah, blah, blah. So she's definitely the one you want to find.
She'll also buy
first.
all your crap off you as well.
Up to her gold limit every week, or her council limit.
That goes up, though, doesn't it?
As you increase your favour, her amount of spending money goes up, yeah.
See, the difference with her is she'll pay you full price for all your crap, whereas the other guys won't until you bring up the friendship level a lot. So it's important to remember
just that. On the gold side of things, when we sort of say gold limits, councils are what it's called, yes. But every week, all the NPCs have a certain amount of pocket change that they essentially can use to buy players' goods and your goods. Once that's used up, their money's gone. You can't go back to them for at least until the following week when it resets. Not sure what day it actually is, though, to be perfectly honest, but it is a weekly reset where they get their money back.
I think they may reset too when you increase your favour. I'm fairly certain that I maxed out her spending and then I increased.
That's a really important thing for new players as well, the favour thing, because you might be thinking, why should I do quests for all these assholes? Because they're not, why? Mm-hmm. The reason is because they will give you more money for your stuff and they will have more money to spend on your crap. Because when you're going through dungeons, you're going to accumulate massive amounts of loot that you need to get rid of. Mm-hmm. And probably 90% of it you'll be selling and you want to get top dollar for it. You need to increase favour with all the NPCs to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing in terms of inventory management, because like you said before, Grax, is a lot of people are going to just drop their stuff. A lot of their white items and things like that, or common items that they don't want because they find something better. So don't be too sucked into picking everything up that you see. Otherwise, you will very quickly run out of space.
Sure. Just pick it up, look at it, see if you can use it or if it's worth selling and then drop it.
I think on the topic of favour and NPCs is once you determine what type of skills you want to use or what to go with, maybe find out what that particular NPC needs for their favour, because it's not only about doing quests to increase your favour, it's also about giving gifts. So what I would maybe do as well is if okay, here's the guy that teaches me how to use a sword. To get to the higher, sword 1, sword 2, sword 3 skill levels, you actually need to be of a certain reputation. Best way of doing that, and also to do quests, you have to actually, you'll start with maybe 2 quests, and then you won't get any more until your favourite level goes up. So how do you do that without actually being able to get any more quests out of them? That's by giving them gifts. So note down what the gifts are that you need for that particular NPC, and actually keep an eye out for those when you're out on your travels. So then when you actually come back, you can, instead of selling it, give the particular item as a gift. That's also going to increase your favour level.
And
check out the wiki as well.
The more value the item's worth, the higher the rep usually.
Yeah. That's right. Also check out the wiki, because sometimes you'll see NPCs will actually say they like this or they love that. And you might go, oh, they love that, they're going to give me more favour. Not always the case, because I was actually with a particular NPC, I think in Elturbil, where I needed to hand over obsidian ore or something like that. And it turns out he liked obsidian ore, but he really loved something else. But when I went onto the wiki, it turns out for every obsidian that he liked, I say in quotations, I was getting, 20 points of favor. But the other item that he loved, I was getting 5. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I would have assumed love actually means more, like means less. Other way around. Do a bit of research on your wiki so you can actually prioritize what items.
Makes no sense.
I know. Yeah. Well, there you go. Look at that.
I learned something.
You learned something. That was the point of this episode. Well, not for you, for other people.
We can learn too, man. Come on.
I know. That's the beauty. There's so much to learn about this game.
Try and stop me from learning, Chris.
God,
it's fine.
Sorry. But just do a bit of research. Prioritize what you're actually looking for. I think a thing about inventory management is prioritize what you're collecting. Don't collect everything. Some things are just not going to sell for a lot. And then when you actually want something, you're going to be stuck in a situation in the middle of a dungeon going, oh, what do I drop? And then before you know it, something respawns on you and you die and you lose.
And if you forget, or if you don't write it down, if you forget what particular NPCs want stuff, you can actually click on the items in your inventory and it'll tell you certain NPCs like this or love this, or this would be a good gift for such and such, and it'll list off the people, and then it'll also say something like, and 3 other people you haven't met yet, or something like that.
If you right click the item and select more info, something like that. I think it's like more info.
I think it's more info, yeah.
So yeah, that's actually a really good point. Check that out, because it'll, like you said, Grax, it'll tell you who needs it. So, but yeah, so we'll actually, Grax, you did say before, yes, we did post a thing on Reddit to sort of get some of the community's feedback, because there is so much to learn about this game. There's no way for us to learn everything. So what we did is we posted on Reddit to say, look, next episode, we want to do tips for new players. What is the community's feedback? And we had some really good responses. Grax, do you want to, or Brett, do you want to quickly go through maybe some points that we can pull out from the community?
Yep, sure. So the one that stood out for me, because I like the way he wrote it out, so we're going to say the person's name is Sadie_Reddit, and he goes, "Hey, I heard you last podcast and it was great.
Loved you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, legend. You're welcome
that
anytime."
Correct. That is correct, Sadie. We are great. Things I wish I knew 4 weeks earlier. In every map, there is a bookcase where you can access all NPC storage without needing to visit them in person. This saves a lot of time muling stuff. So that's every. I thought it was only in Serbial you had that. That's all of them. Obviously.
So in Serbial Hills, there's one in the tavern. I knew about that bookshelf, but I didn't realise it was every zone. So that's very cool.
So you find that, and you can just go and chuck all your crap in there, rather than having to sort of stuff around.
Well, no, it lets you access the storage on other NPCs in the area. So if you talk to them and unlock their storage, you can access that via the bookshelf. So you've just got one point that you can go to. Yeah, rather than running all the way down to X, Y, and Z.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So point 2, 25 armor points, reduce damage by 1 point, and incoming damage is halved to armor and life points. So I guess that's just like the formula to work out, how much, what actually having higher armor is going to do for you.
Well, because I think with actually the how the armor and health works is, if, for example, you've got, say, 100 health and 100 armor, and you get hit for 50 damage points, that gets halved between your health and armor. So you actually lose 25 health and 25 armor instead of like a whole 50. So it kind of gets split between the two. But
and it reduces the damage by 1 point as well.
For every 25. So instead of being hit for 50, you'd be hit for 49 if you had, 25 armor points, for example. So this is actually one mistake that I made, because I tried to go the tanking class. And one of the things that I did quite early is I had like 150 health, but I had like 500 armor. I really focused on gear to give me lots of armor, because I thought, I'm the tanking class. And then eventually I did read about that. Oh no, it actually just, you want to balance it out, because the damage will be split between health and armor. So that's why you want to sort of balance those. So you want around 200 health, 200 armor, give or take. But of course, maybe a little bit more armor, because it does reduce the overall damage. So don't just focus on armor because you think it's going to save your health. No, not going to do that.
So this is actually a good one that took me a little while to work out. In the game, you have to have food, and the food will regenerate your hit points and stuff like that while you're fighting, while you're not fighting. You can get meals, and you can also stack those together with snack foods. So, for example, you might eat some goblin wheat bread, and then you might also drink buttermilk, and they'll actually stack on top of each other, so you can get the buffs from both of those foods. Yeah. They do actually say on their food whether it's a snack food or not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's a snack, a meal, and a drink. I think you can stack 3. I think.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just snack and meals. I thought the drinks are classed as snack food.
Oh, maybe they are. I could be wrong. I'm quite regularly wrong, so
I think we need to test
the buttermilk one was like a snack food, I'm pretty sure. And I was stacking that with stuff. So
I take it back.
It makes a big difference. Like when you've got, it's not like a small, minuscule buff. It's like massive amounts of points that you'll regen, especially when you're soloing and stuff. Really helps. And cooking is important, so better cook your stuff. You get while leveling, whatever that means. While talking food, eat everything once. You may think Gorman time buff is minuscule, but better food needs a higher Gorman to actually consume it, meaning some of the sort of higher level foods you have to actually have a skill that you get from eating different types of food. So
skills for everything in this game.
Yeah, you need to basically just try all the different foods, and it will build up your skills for that, and then you can access the higher tiers of food, which is like, I would say the food is probably one of the most important things in the game. So it's really, you don't want to overlook that. Number 5, important early drops to keep rather than sell is fire dust. Fire dust is pretty expensive, so definitely you can probably sell it to other players as well, and it's used in fire magic. I don't know if that would be applicable to other classes. I don't know if you guys have needed fire dust, but I've needed it to do my spells.
No.
But it is expensive, so don't waste it at the vendors if they're not giving you much for it. Glass bottles empty. Don't know why that is. Assume it's something to do with cooking.
Well, because
and water, collecting water. The other thing I would add to that, if you manage to find any after you get off the island, is the gem. Is it amethyst or the one that you need for teleporting? If you want to teleport amethyst, around the place, keep your amethysts. Don't sell them, because when you use your teleport spell, there's a percentage chance that you'll use up the amethyst and it'll get destroyed. So when that happens, like if you're really unlucky, when you do the quests on the island, you got to teleport twice, and I think you can only find 2 on the island. So if you're really unlucky, like I was, you'll use up both, and you won't find any more until you start either finding them in loot or start doing surveying, which is a skill that obviously geology and that kind of stuff. So if you find any amethysts randomly around the joint, hang on to it if you want to be able to fast travel. I think there are other fast travel methods. Someone told me the other day about mushroom circles and stuff, but generally speaking, for the teleportation spell, I think you have to use the crystal.
I think this guy's a fire mage because his 6 point is no, you can't use sword and fire magic together. But I think what he's getting at there is you need to do fire magic, you need to use a staff. That doesn't mean you have to use that staff as your primary attack. You can do it. It does stack well with fire magic, but you can use, mentalism, psychology, unarmed, all that sort of stuff. It just means you can't use a sword, or I suppose a knife or something like that, because you have to have fire magic.
You have to have the staff equipped as a main hand weapon. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So those are so that I found that post to be pretty informative.
Grax, with the Reddit post, was there anything that jumped out at you that you feel would offer some good benefits to new players?
Definitely. I'd already sort of touched on it in the last episode because being an archer / bard, but I don't know. Like clearly, this person likes In Excess, the band, because his name. Well, I'm assuming. IN Dragon XS. I'm pretty sure that's In Excess Dragon or something. I don't know. He's saying here, if you're planning to get archery, then make sure you work on fletching. Buying arrows gets pricey. And if certain items stack up to 99 or 199, save them for later use. Investigate what you need to make the higher level arrows. So there's things like bones that you'll get from undead, and a couple of other items that completely escape me right now. I think maybe cloth was one of them. But if you are going to be an archer, like I said in last episode, find the fletching NPC, make him your best buddy, and learn how to make your own arrows, because it's a long process and you need a lot of resources as you ramp up your skill. So early on, when you're picking up the bones and the lower level stuff, definitely keep those items for later when you start your fletching.
Yep. One of the ones I liked from Moon465 is actually relating to non-combat skills. He's saying that they are very important. I completely agree. This is something that I didn't focus on myself. I was like, yeah, kill shit, fucking stab. And very quickly I was just like, oh, hang on. Now, I need to eat food to regen combat stuff and health. And then I was like, oh, but I, don't have great food that I can eat. Let's say I have money to buy good food, but I can't actually make it. I was wasting a lot of money on food. So he's saying himself, he didn't really take this too seriously himself until he was level 50 with his combat skills. But you do want to sort of focus on gardening, cooking, as well as surveying to make some cash. So gardening and cooking can really go hand in hand. You grow your food, you make your food, awesome. It's a really good buff that you get when you eat food because it gives you health and armor and combat regen when you're outside of combat. I'm very much in a situation where I have to buy cheap food because it's all I can afford. But the cheaper the food, you're going to get sort of less of a regeneration rate as opposed to a more expensive food where it gives you more. So learn gardening, learn cooking.
I won't cook for Herdy because he's ungrateful.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, whatever. Fuck you guys.
He is.
So yeah,
definitely. What his wife says.
You threw him off there totally. You completely lost it.
So, yeah, definitely check that stuff out. Check out your non-combat skills. Jump at the wiki. There is a lot of non-combat skills, a lot of trade skills. Check them out. See what you want to sort of maybe prioritize on. But I would also, along with Moon 465, agree. Gardening, cooking, some good ones to get into for the extra buff. I also, big shout out to another poster, Preacher. You have, I don't even know where to start. This is a massive lengthy post, and it is awesome. If you haven't had the chance, go to the subreddit for Project Gorgon and check out his response because there's a lot of information to digest. He's even got directions in there down to 1,000 meters in this direction and this roughly this quadrant. You're going to find this. Go have a read of it. There's so much in there.
There's a post called Tips for New Players, it's called, in Project Gorgon, and it's sort of still near the top, so go into that first, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
They might not know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I should have, yeah. The post is Tips for New Players. It is posted by myself, which is Herdy_AUS. Once again, Herdy with the number 3. Tips for New Players and Preacher. It's a big post, so thank you so much to Preacher. That is a ton of stuff in there, really some good words of advice, but too much that I don't think we have time to really go through in this particular episode. But yeah, so look, before we begin to move on to our next segment away from Project Gorgon, is there any last minute big tips that we think people need to know about?
Just talk to lots of NPCs because they will lead you in the right direction. If you're not sure, just start talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
explore.
As we said last episode too, ask in general chat, ask in the help channel. Like, the community is awesome. The people are really helpful. You don't get your sarcastic dickheads slagging you off and that kind of stuff. Like, everyone is genuinely helpful.
Well, I wouldn't say everyone.
Well,
most people.
The overwhelming majority. Sorry, yeah, I can't sort of generalize.
Some of the conversations I've seen going on in there are
pretty
bad.
Yeah, don't go in there and say, "Oh, Grax said this community was awesome," and then someone slags you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you say Grax, they're going to be like,
which Grax?
The other Grax.
The other Grax. The Grax you have when you're not having a Grax.
Actually, one thing I think might be on the topic of community that I think would be a really fun thing to do. I reckon what we should organise is maybe try and organise a bit of a community event. So we'll figure it out. What we'll do is maybe we should do some sort of dungeon run. Because one thing that's really cool about the dungeons that we did say in the last episode is they're not instance. So you could have tons of people run into the one dungeon and they're all going to be there. I think what could be a bit of fun to do is actually, I don't know, maybe we'll put on Reddit, we'll figure out the details, but maybe we'll do some sort of community dungeon run event. We'll pick a dungeon, we'll figure it out for later on in the future. But I think that could be kind of cool to do, is trying to organise something like that. Get a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of listeners and other people from the community, come down and let's just run amok through a dungeon. I think that could be pretty fun. Could be interesting.
Absolutely, it sounds great.
All right, we'll discuss that offline, and we'll come back to everyone once
Michael's not invited.
No, fuck Michael. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
He's bailed.
But that's it. So we'll come back on that when we've got some more information. Now that we've just thought of that. But look, let's move on. Our next segment,
hang on one sec,
Brett,
just before we move on.
I did say any last minute.
Yeah, you were talking, man. So just a quick shout out to Pro Minus. We alluded to it at our last episode, right at the end there. We did, as a group, the 4 of us did or started to do the carpal tunnels and got absolutely owned on the first boss or the second boss. Can't remember. And
first boss.
And we got the curse, couldn't get our gear back, couldn't kill it again. So we sort of said, hey, is anyone available in chat? And Pro Minus, awesome guy, or girl, I'm not sure, gender fluid, gender neutral, whatever, came and helped us out, ran us through the dungeon, and we were so very appreciative of that. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we named our guild after you, so thanks a lot for that. We appreciate it.
Guild name is the Cult of Pro Minus. If you happen to be listening, we thought it was funny at the time, but
seemed like a good idea.
Carried away with it went a bit too far. To be honest,
Michael did sort of over. I'm surprised Pro Minus didn't kick us off of the party the way he was carrying on. But anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway. So moving on for Project Gorgon. Brett, you have some potentially yet to be determined interesting and random facts.
I feel like this is too much of a sudden segue. With the quiz, we have a quiz as well, don't we?
We do.
Is that a Gorgon-based quiz?
It is a Gorgon-based quiz. I was going to use that to wrap up the episode, but we can go into the quiz if you like.
I don't know. I feel like this is too much of a sudden jump just to something else. But,
are you just saying that because you're not ready? Or?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All
it's
right,
just so sort of.
So we need
need a segue.
You want a natural segue? Okay, so let's just we go back to Project Gorgon.
Why don't we go to? Didn't Grax have a couple of things to say about some early access games, just quickly, or is that like a? Do you need more time for that?
Probably 5 minutes. It's no big deal. Let's discuss the mechanics of the podcast while we're on there.
Let's go to that, and then we're going to do a little bit of Gorgon at the end as well with a Gorgon quiz. So stick around for the Gorgon quiz.
Let me just naturally segue this across to Grax for early access.
Subtle as a sledgehammer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grax.
Hello, people. How you doing? Okay, so this month, being the month of May, we've had a couple of games, or two games that we've played in the past, and some of us, still from time to time check into, come out of early access into full release. So The Forest was released as version 1.0 on the 30th of April, 1st of May, depending on what part of the world you're in. We also had Conan Exiles was released on May 8th. That came out. And Star Citizen has most recently released their latest alpha of 3.1.4. So a lot of updates there for those games. I was just briefly going to talk about what's gone on in each of them.
The Forest.
So The
Forest is...
The Forest is...
Chris actually said at the start, he's like, we've only been playing Project Gorgon. That's a lie. I've been playing The Forest as well. It's fucking sweet.
Traitor.
The Forest is, if for those of you that don't know, it's not really an MMO. It's a single player / small group party survival game. The synopsis is horror survival. As the lone survivor of a passenger jet crash, you find yourself in a mysterious forest, battling to stay alive against a society of cannibalistic mutants. Build, explore, survive in this terrifying first-person survival horror simulator. The game itself has had 7 mini patches just in this few weeks since the beginning of May. Most of those have been bug fixes. There was a lot of content earlier. It's been in early access on Steam for 4 years, and now come into full release. The game's scary as all hell if you're into jump scares and horror kind of stuff. With having said that, though, once you've played the game a bit and you know where things happen and how the AI works and all that kind of stuff, it gets less scary. But it's still
that's what I've found.
It still is a very cool game. It's open world. You can build your camps wherever you want. There's the crafting system's very cool. There's a lot of standard structures you can build, or you can make custom ones. You've got your usual survival mechanics of you need to get meat, food, water, that kind of stuff. There's also a sanity system where you've got to try and keep yourself sane or bad things start to happen. You've got to manage the environment and the weather. And the AI of the cannibals / mutants is really interesting. I believe that's had a major tweak with the full release of the game. So the AI is actually quite smart now. They will look for alternate ways to attack your camp. They won't always attack if you're not if you're not imposing on their territory. If you do certain things in the game, they become more aggressive.
Don't go into too much detail.
Yeah, exactly.
This one you don't want to give any spoilers for.
Yeah, so it is a great game. Loads of fun. On Steam, it's got a 92% positive rating out of 80,000 reviews. So that's pretty damn good.
I don't know how could you give that game a negative review? What sort of
it's only $19.99 US dollars, and that's the full price. It's not even on special, so that's a pretty good deal for this game, I would say. And there's also the most recently they've released it to beta in VR. Fuck me, I cannot think of anything more scary than playing that game in VR.
It's really scary. Like, though the thing is, like, you can play it with friends, and it does lose a bit of its
loses
sort of scariness.
edge, and it's way more fun setting zombies on fire, mutants on fire
on your own. It's definitely ups the creep level.
Yeah, and there's a whole host of caves and caverns and stuff to explore that are just creepy as hell. So it's definitely the suspense and the atmosphere of the game, very, very cool. But anyway, yep, Metacritic have given that a score of 83, so that's pretty high as well. Good stuff. Conan Exiles. So this one's I've done a YouTube series on previously, and I've also just started up season 2 of that with the new release. That will cost you $39.99 US on Steam at the moment, full price. They're currently up to, or with the release of 1.0, they're at their 33rd patch update for this game, and it's got a shitload of changes in it. Absolute massive updates to the game since I played it last. It was only in early access on Steam for a year, and it's gone full release now on May 8th. So just really briefly, some of the changes. They've completely updated the combat system. You've now got strong attacks and weak attacks with your left and right mouse button. You can chain attack combos with up to 4 different moves. There's kicks, there's shield blocking. You can lock onto targets. The health bar and UI has changed since if you've played it before, that's slightly changed. There's a new purge meter, which is really interesting when you play on a server. I'm not sure if it's in single player, but when you play on a server, this purge meter slowly ticks up. And it makes me think of kind of like 7 Days to Die with the 7-Day Horde, where when it gets to a certain point based on how far you've progressed or how many NPCs you've killed or whatever, the purge meter will reach a certain point. And then once it gets there, after that point, you've got a chance of being attacked by clans and groups of NPCs who will come and find you and your base and start attacking it. So that's a really cool new concept. There's farming in the game now. There's a quick loot system, so you don't actually have to open the body and take out things. You can just look at bodies and quickly loot them. Host of new building items. There's fast travel in the game now, so they've got the ability, you go and find a specific NPC and learn the map room skill or the navigator skill, and then you can build a map room which lets you fast travel around the map when you've discovered certain locations, which is handy.
I have no idea what that means. But Star Citizen has gone to 3.1.4. So
Yes,
just very quickly, give us a quick recap on what that is in case there's any Star Citizen fans out there.
No one cares about that game anymore.
Shut up.
Shut up, you. Star Citizen's awesome.
These Project Gorgon people just be like turning off.
So nothing too much in 3.1.4, mainly just bug fixes. Why
is it worth mentioning then?
Just to say that
we've got a patch. There's nothing's changed.
Things have changed. They've improved some things. They've improved the grav lev.
How's the frame rate going?
Frame rate's awesome for those that have good computers. Man, it's fully unoptimized alpha. Come on. It's not going to be awesome for people that don't have high-end PCs. So we can get into a debate about that.
It was bad for everyone before, even people. I've got a 1080 and I can't even run it properly, so that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, so mainly bug fixes and quality of life improvements, all in preparation for the major next update content patch of 3.2, which should be mid to end of next month. So we'll probably talk more about Star Citizen then. But if you're interested in Star Citizen, don't know what it is, Space Sim, MMO, check out our YouTube channel. I've got a few videos up there on that, and there'll be some more to come in the future. So any questions or comments, please let us know on that. And that will do for now.
That will do. Brett, so now we naturally segue across to you for your random and interesting facts. Is this
what I think when I talk to you guys, I'm like, these guys, they just want some facts and they just need information. That's the sort of
actually really glad that you think about
make us sound smart.
Yeah. So what I did was I just sort of went on the internet, found some interesting facts that I think you might find interesting, and also facts has to be put in inverted commas because none of this is verified.
I was going to say you found it on the internet. It must be true.
What I did was I'd look for different articles and then I'd try to sort of see if that had been posted on other news sites and stuff. So, and also, it's not really news because some of it's 20 years old.
Righto.
Right. All right. So first one I found in 2002, Dan Holmes legally changed his name to Mr. PlayStation 2.
Really?
Yes. Mr. PS2 plays PlayStation 2 for more than 4 hours a day. He even takes it on holiday because he can't bear to be without it. And he has spent £7,000 on games.
I mean,
So didn't you try that, Chris, in 2004?
Wasn't there even 2,000, like £7,000 worth of games on PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2 had a pretty massive library.
There was some good stuff there. I don't get me wrong. Like, there was some great stuff.
But only 4 hours a day?
Noob.
I thought those are pretty low numbers.
I've got to pump those numbers up.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty
that.
pathetic. I mean, I think...
And can you, like... Also, are you allowed to even change your name to...
a trademark?
A registered trademark. Like, can I be called Ford Falcon or something? Like, that doesn't sound...
I mean, that'd be stupid, but...
It doesn't... as opposed to PlayStation 2. But you're like, damn it, that's brilliant.
Damn, he beat me to it. I'm just...
Damn it.
15 years too slow.
Xbox.
Okay, that actually was kind of interesting. I never knew that was a thing. Well done. All right. What else
so
you got?
it's and then I went down a rabbit hole of people changing their names. A couple of years ago, a Ukrainian man officially changed his name to iPhone 7 after an electronics store offered the Apple product to the first 5 people to do that. Which, see, this is where the thing about being verified comes in, because they're saying that, so 5 people must have changed their name to iPhone 7.
How does that work?
I can't imagine.
Well, you got the iPhone 7, you got the iPhone 7 Plus, you got the iPhone 7 Special Edition. No, I don't know. I'm just making these up now.
Maybe.
iPhone 7 Edge.
Edge.
So the guy's 20, and he got his prize for doing that. And then he changed his name back to Alexander Turin. No, he said he's going to change it back when he has children.
Might be a wise idea.
And it says that his family and friends were shocked at first, but they eventually supported the idea, which I've put question marks there because that sounds pretty fucking weird.
Technical support. They gave you technical support.
Well, it's like Chris, I'm going to change my name to, I don't know, Asus Monitor. Like, I can't imagine you going, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, too late. It's done now. Oh, okay then.
Yeah. So that
well, maybe next time you should ask us before you do it. It's like
at least maybe see if it's a good idea.
That was interesting, yet useless. Now this one's real, and you guys will like this. J.C. Rosser Jr. et al. Conducted a study that showed the following: surgeons who select video games in the past more than 3 hours per week had 37% fewer errors and 27% faster completion rate performing laparoscopic surgery and suturing compared to surgeons who never played video games.
Is that because they were playing Surgeon Simulator?
It didn't specify which game.
I think it's just more the fact that actually playing video games is, in this day and age is the complexity that games are getting to at this point, where you actually need fast reaction times when lags and latency is not involved, and you've actually got to think outside the box. Like, I don't know, like I sometimes think because of games, when I like, if it got me and say like my wife, for example, who is not a gamer by any stretch of the imagination, has a very different process of thinking. I think she sort of thinks a lot more logically. Of course. But I think when it comes to problems, I sometimes feel like I look outside the box and look for alternative routes, because that's kind of how my brain, I think, has been developed over the years, is I'm trying to find different ways to complete my task at hand, in which case is sometimes the video game. So I don't know. I think that's very cool.
I sort of read it as because it's like, obviously your hand-eye coordination would be more sort of adept.
No.
So this is just specifically surgeons they're talking about.
No, because I wouldn't have thought that, because I would put hand and eye coordination down to sports and ball sports, where hand and eye coordination for me on a keyboard and mouse or a controller, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're talking about a more sort of fiddly,
probably more precision.
Precision.
Exactly. A fine motor skill rather than a gross motor skill.
No, but for me, personally, growing up playing, different ball sports, when like, let's say for any Australians, or I was going to say any Australians, cricket, if it's it's an international sport, having one of those things come at you and you've got like split seconds, minuscule seconds to make a decision.
Help surgery though. They don't throw a tennis ball at your head while you perform
I'm not saying surgery. That, but if you want to talk about hand and eye coordination, when you've got like tenths of a second to
maybe that was the wrong word. Maybe that's the wrong phrase. Maybe it's the fine motor skills, as Grax said.
Maybe, but if you're going to use that term, that's what I'm going to roll with.
All right, but this is fact, so you can't dispute it. So. And doesn't say basketball players will make better surgeons.
Well, I said cricket, so
Oh,
but look, I think it's awesome to see that, video games have been able to improve the skill of anyone, because I think it does that. I think it creates complex situations that allows people to think outside the box to resolve problems.
Yeah, I wonder if I reckon it's more the... Anyway, I mean, it doesn't say, if you want to get into med school, play video games for 8 hours a day, because I don't think that work either.
No, definitely not saying that. But, don't go knocking on your university's door going, I play games, give me doctor.
I got 100% completion rate in Surgeon Simulator.
Anything else? Any other facts for us?
All right. Yeah, last one. You are 3 times more likely to get a virus from a religious website than a porn site.
What?
What type of virus?
Religious and ideological sites were found to have triple the average number of threats per infected site than adult pornographic sites.
Yeah, that's because hackers love porn.
We hypothesize that this is because pornographic website owners already make money from the internet, do they? I suppose they do. And a result of vested interest in keeping their sites malware-free.
Makes sense.
Whereas, I guess, religious people don't. I don't think it's
just going to have some little IT guy, first year in high school.
I don't think it's like the priests are putting viruses on your computer. Probably it's more that they're probably easier to be hacked, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's probably you're right.
Or maybe it's God doing it to try to tell you
spice things up a
stuff.
bit.
All right.
I thought that was interesting because you always think, porn will get you viruses, but it's religion. Religion's bad for you, apparently.
Religion is bad in every case. All right. So we're going to wrap up the episode with Control Alt Record quiz. This week, I am the quiz master. I will be quizzing these two. Quickly. There are points that will be distributed to whoever are given the right answer. The points mean nothing. It is just a bit of fun. So
it's all about pride. They mean everything.
Yeah, you can't win with the lag handicap. It's,
Well, what do you mean? Because now it's like, Mike, so you're close, sort of geographically, you should have an advantage over me.
Theoretically, if I'm listening.
Well, then that's on you.
Well, yeah. It's because your internet's garbage.
Yeah,
at least we're going to have Michael here who'll be talking over us constantly. So,
all right, let's get into it. So, question number 1.
Hang on. So, what do you do? So, you say your name, and then you say the answer.
So, I'm going to give a question. Your buzzer is your name, first name that I hear, and that's just how that we have to roll with it. With lag and latency, gives their answer. If there's any hesitation or there's anything wrong, I will pass the question on to, or the opportunity on to the other player to answer it. Now,
you actually don't go. I was going to say you actually don't need to explain the rules because Michael's not here. We don't cheat.
Yeah, but for listeners,
yeah, fair enough
as well.
All right. Question number 1: which of the following 5 options is not a trade skill or any type of skill? So, which of the following is not a skill that you can learn in Project Gorgon?
Right.
So, treasure cartography, buckle artistry, flower arrangement, interpretive dance, or masonry? Brett.
Masonry.
That is correct. Masonry is not a skill that is listed. All other 4, interpretive dance, flower arrangement, buckle artistry, and treasure cartography are.
I actually was going to say buckle artistry and then masonry came up. So
that's
why would you do, mate? Because I thought you can't build anything, so why would you have masonry?
Well, I don't know, because I kind of thought buckle, interpretive dance.
Interpretive dance is actually funny. That's a cool skill.
Question number 2. Can you name, without hesitation, name 4 out of the 9 zones?
Fuck no.
Grax. Anagog Island, Serbule Hills, Eltabule.
I will take it. Other answers, that is correct. Other ones could have been the Kerr Mountains, Sunval, Amari, Rahu, and Gezuk.
No, did you just say name 4? I think you said say 9.
No, 4 out of the 9. Name 4 out of the 9.
Fuck, I didn't hear that probably.
Oh,
damn it.
well.
I could have done that actually.
Who's not listening?
So,
I think my thing bugged out. I should get a point anyway.
Nah, shut up. All right, so that's 1 each. So this is going to be a bit of an observation and a memory question because it's been a while since we've been at the starter island. What is the wooden structure that is located behind you when you first spawn into Anagog Island?
Brett.
Oh, I heard Grax.
That is a dock.
It is a dock. It is a dock. I also would have accepted boat because there's a little dinghy looking thing there, but dock is good. Well, no, I actually wasn't expecting you guys to be so quick. 2 to Grax, 1 to Brett. What is number 4? What is the name of the lighthouse on the starting island of Anagon?
Oh, shit.
That's a hard. I can't remember that.
You get points for there's an elf guy in there.
There is an elf guy.
I'll say it's made of stone. It's got a staircase in it. It's a bookshelf.
The main
in
quest
there.
to go places.
What is the name of it?
The Stone Lighthouse.
What is the name that is as it appears on the map?
The lighthouse. Lighthouse.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard a name.
Brett, the lighthouse.
That is correct. It is called the Lighthouse.
What, seriously? Oh, awesome. Hell yeah.
Oh, way to go. Nice work,
It was just a complete just shot in the dark.
I thought that was I wasn't sure how that one was going to go. So is that nice. That's 2 each, isn't it?
2 all, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
2 all.
Question number 5. So if you were to, so there's 3 category zones. You've got combat, trade, and beast. If you add up all 3 of the skills together, what is the total number of skills you can learn in the game?
Brett. 127?
No.
I was going to say 180.
No.
Okay. And the answer is?
If you were to, so there are 16... this is also not going off what Michael did. He went, 16 times whatever. It's just there's 16 combat skills. There are 71 trade skills. And there are 11 beast skills, bringing to a total of 98.
Okay. I never would have got that.
Right.
Grax doesn't
My
math.
second answer was going to be 96. It was going to be close.
No, well, still not 98. So still on 2 each. We've got 2 questions to go. Now, for this one, I do need to bring up a quick screen. There we go. Now, this is going to be another name 4 out of the 11 possible beast skills.
Okay.
So what name 4 of the beast skills? There's 11. There's 11.
Brett.
All right,
Brett. Spider.
Spider, yep.
Deer.
Yes.
Cow.
Yes. You get 1 chance. You don't get to make a mistake.
God, I've gone blank. Hang on.
I'm pretty sure you said yes, because now if you get it wrong, Grax is just going to repeat those 3.
Yeah. He can't use the ones that I've said.
I want to bet.
I'll give you 10 seconds.
Pig? Is that pig?
Pig. I will take pig.
Pig. Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I
anyone
would have
who,
also added lycanthropy or wolf.
yes, so you've got...
Is druid, you counting druid in there?
No.
Yeah, well, I was going to say druid, but that's not a...
No,
is that a
it's
beast?
Not actually a
combat skill.
beast.
It's a combat skill.
Yeah.
That's a combat skill. There is beast metabolism, there's beast speech, there's cow, deer, giant bat, howling, lycanthropy, pig, rabbit, spider, and survival instincts are the 11 beast skills for anyone counting. So that is 3 to Brett, 2 to Grax.
Yeah.
Shit.
You have got a tiebreaker.
Don't tell me you don't.
I got one more question, and I don't have a
All right,
tiebreaker,
well-
so Brett, you better get
Well, let's
this.
see. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What is the name of the curse that a player would receive if they were to fail to kill Ursula?
Brett.
Oh, Brett, straight in there.
It's like
No,
haunted, I think. Like you hear a strange...
it is haunted.
Something haunted, yes.
Haunted is correct.
Oh,
Trying to
get
remember
out
what
of
it says, like
town.
it's- yeah, it's like you hear something
And
in
for
your head
extra
or you-
points, what
something-
happens when you're haunted?
Well, everyone knows this one because they probably got it. It's Ursula rocks up and annoys the shit out of you every 5 seconds.
She turns up everywhere.
And on the topic of new players, if you do go and kill Ursula and you do die to Ursula trying to kill her and you do get the haunted curse, just so you know how to remove curses, you have to kill Ursula. You have to kill the boss. There you go. So
Yeah.
every boss will give you a curse if you lose, but the only way to remove it is by going back and killing them. You know, the one that you just died on. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
That is it. That is the quiz. So Brett wins 4-2. Once again, okay, pat on the back. Good on you.
Congratulations, Brett.
Thank
well
you.
done. Don't get played hard.
But look, that's it.
I am the Gorgon King. You are correct.
I won last episode.
for-
So, tiebreaker. All right. Well, look, thank you. That is everything for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you once again to the Reddit posters and the
Yes,
subreddit
thanks, guys.
of Project
That's awesome.
Gorgon. Loved your feedback. Loved your responses, particularly to the question how to help new people. I think that does kind of sum up the community quite well. You ask the question, and people are more than willing to help. And also, like I said, go check out the subreddit Tips for New Players for Preachers. Really long essay, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's some really good stuff. It's really informative. Just unfortunately didn't have time to go through it tonight. So that's it. We will catch you in our next episode. Most likely still talk about more Project Gorgon as we continue our journey, as we discover what Gorgon is to offer. So stay tuned to us next episode, and we will see you then.
See you. Ciao.